What do you do?
Right now I'm working at Trader Joe's.
Okay.
Trader Joe, that's what we call this guy. He's sold out this country.
This would be the first episode where I literally pass out in the middle of the show.
Welcome to my world.
What do you...
Good morning, Owasso. It's the twins at the Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. That was a clip from Kill Tony, and that was Shane Gillis' Trump, and I don't know who the other guy is that was pretending to be Joe Biden, but that was a great show that they had. Kill Tony, it's like a live comedy show, and he has a bunch of just random people come in and do comedy sets. You know, like amateurs come on and try to do sets, and they ridicule the people doing the sets, or they tell them they did a great job, or give them critiques and things like that. So it's a really neat little show, so definitely check it out. Very funny. Kill Tony actually had the best roasting segment on the roast of Tom Brady. If you've seen clips of that on YouTube or seen the Netflix special of the roast of Tom Brady. Very good. Very funny stuff. So, that being said, we're going to jump right into today's subject. Today's subject is Kamala begs for money. So, we talked about it yesterday. Kamala is $20 million in the hole. Her campaign raised like $1 billion, and they, like Democrats, erratically and chaotically spent money and threw money absolutely everywhere, absolutely anything that would stick. Fake articles, fake reviews, celebrity endorsements. I mean, they paid for Beyonce, they paid for Eminem, they paid for Cardi B. They paid for all these people to come in and give them endorsements, to come to her things. Not even perform, mind you. Like, they didn't perform. They just came and said, we are going for Kamala because Trump is the devil. You know, they're all like Bobby Boucher's mom from Waterboy. Donald Trump is the devil. So, again, she is $20 million in the hole right now, folks, and that's right. So, she conceded the election. There's no conflict. Donald Trump won the popular vote, and he won the Electoral College. There's no. I mean, look, I'm all for people going in and checking and double checking and verifying stuff, but Donald Trump won soundly. And they still have the 20 million missing votes from Joe Biden's voters, so whatever's going on with that, So what's interesting, though, is she's still 20 million in the hole, and she wants to raise money to have an electoral recount of all vote. But something tells me that money's not actually for the electoral recount. Yes. Something tells me this money's going to be for getting out of her campaign debts.
Exactly. That's what I 100% believe that it is for. Like, she is not actually going to recount anything. She is literally trying to refill the pockets of that $20 million in debt that they are for all those celebrity endorsements that they got. Absolutely. I mean, she paid absolutely everybody. I mean, she even, like I said, the Call Her Daddy podcast, and I think the other one she went on, she didn't actually go to their podcast set. She literally wasted thousands of dollars making a set in Washington, D.C. that looks exactly like their sets at their stages wherever they're from. That goes to show you how much money she's willing to waste instead of just flying to go do that. I mean, that was the whole reason Joe Rogan said no. He's like, I'm not coming to you. Come to me, do a podcast here with me.
No, they wanted editorial control. They were never going to let that happen. So, again, all the wasted funds. I mean, wasting money to build a set that looks exactly like the Call Her Daddy podcast set.
And
what a waste.
And the Shannon, whatever his name is.
The Michael Shannon Show, the Shay Shay podcast. Yeah. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, again, this is not for an electoral recount, this money. She is doing this to pay off her $20 million in debt. That's what's going on here. And not only that, there's another coup being planned. They want Joe Biden to step down as president and appoint Kamala as president.
Yep, I have that pulled up here. But first, I'll show this little meme. Yeah. It said, but she was going. It's a green-haired feminist NPC says she was going to fix the economy, and then it's just the like her campaign spent $20 million. Her campaign is $20 million in debt. And then just the NPC gets angry. It's
NPC
hilarious.
Angry face. Yep. Again, folks. That is the truth. She's $20 million in the hole. I mean, this is what you get with Democrat policies and what you get with Democrats in general. They just think money comes out of nowhere. The value, money grows on trees. We can just print as much money as we want, and it's not going to devalue the currency. Yes, it is. We can just throw money anywhere because we can raise billions of dollars because we have all these famous celebrities and billionaires on our side. We can throw that money anywhere. It doesn't matter what we do.
But yep, so being $20 million in debt, asking for a recount for a thing that she's probably just going to refill their, the Democratic establishment's pockets with. We have this right here. Her freaking team is calling Joe Biden to step down for the last 30 days of his presidency. So that way she can be the first female president of the United States. So that means she didn't win an election at all. And they're just going to be like, you should step down so that way she can be president for 30 days. Wow, that's the most pathetic thing that you could ask to do for her. And the reason why is we don't want her to have to be the one that certifies the election that she just lost. And it's hilarious.
Pathetic, man.
That's called being a really sore loser.
Yeah, well, just watch this thing. I mean, just see how ridiculous this is.
All right.
Presidency in the next 30 days. Make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
It would absolve her from being able to from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat, and it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see. Is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats.
Okay, this has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now.
Congratulations.
Season of House of Cards.
All right.
Jeez, that is so stupid.
Kill the volume on that.
It's off. I got it paused.
Okay. But, yeah, I mean, again, at least the analysis by CNN was somewhat coherent there. It's like, oh, this went from being an internet meme to being talked about on the Sunday morning show. Ridiculous. I mean, what would be the point? You get to be president for 30 days just so you don't have to certify the election you lost? I mean, does that not show? I mean, it shows mental fortitude and wherewithal to be able to do that, to be able to humbly certify an election you lost. That shows greater strength of character than tell Joe to step down so I can step up so I don't have to do the whole election certification thing.
Well, here's the other part, too. They cut this off, but they're literally so that way it's also vindictive because they're so that way Trump has to redo all of his merch.
Yeah, and be number 48 instead of number 40. Yeah, that is another point where the conversation went to right after that. You're right. They were that way all the Trump people have to change their thing from 47 to 48. How petty, how vindictive. I remember talking to it wasn't somebody I went to college with, but it was somebody who they were getting engaged to. And he was like, yeah, I go around on Facebook, and anybody that independently makes Trump stuff, I copyright claim all their sales stuff on Facebook. And I'm like, wow, how pathetic of you. How much time do you have on your hands where you can go about seeing that people can't make money off of their hard work of their labor? He's like, I go around and I a progressive, liberal, LGBT person was like, I waste all my time on Facebook going around making sure that people can't sell their personal custom-made Trump memorabilia by copyright claiming it and saying that they're not allowed to do this or it's hated material. I'm just like, wow, you are an awful person. And, this is the type of person that goes to a progressive church, thinks that they're a good Christian, and I'm just like, and you are taking away someone's hard work and labor and taking away their ability to sell their hard work to the world. And you think you're a good person? The lack of self-awareness and the lack of self-reflection on some of these people on the left, it's unbelievable. And these are people that I know. And I should have called them out right then and there, but to me it was just so, I was having a hard time processing exactly what he was saying. I was like, wait, you do what? And I'm like, why would you waste, to me, I didn't have time to think about it the way I just told you. I just thought, what a ridiculous waste of your time. But again, their hatred in their hearts knows no bounds. It's more important that we hurt our political rivals than it is that we be good Christians. That's what these people are. But again, the Christianity that they're following isn't really Christianity. It's we affirm your lifestyle. We affirm your LGBTQ beliefs. It's look, God loves you if you're gay, regardless. And he will take you into the fold, but you have to repent of your sins.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I know I went off on a tangent there, but again, that just goes to show you the level of hatred and intolerance the other side has of you. Yep. They won't even let you if you can't make a living selling silly things on Facebook Marketplace, they'll take every job you have. You can't even create your own works of you can't even reap what you sow. You can't even you can't even sell the fruits that you create. You can't sell the fruits of your own labor. That's sad.
Yep.
that they would go out after you like that. But anyway, we'll go ahead and keep going. Chad,
Yeah.
what else you have pulled up?
Next one I have here is this shows why the mainstream media is dying because they are constantly lying. And this is the Elon Musk reposted this, but it's should your tax dollars really be paying for organizations run by people who think the truth is a distraction? And this is the frickin' CEO of NPR. And everyone's like, NPR is so unbiased. They just teach the news. Like, this lady right here is proof that these people are evil, crazy, or
Liars.
are all liars. Exactly.
Play it.
So, and I'll just go ahead and read the little bit real quick. But it says this is from The Rabbit Hole. And I think our reverence for the truth might become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done. So again, lying and like trying to do things is more important than the truth.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's not what the COVID virus was all about, I don't
let her
know.
speak for herself. Yeah.
Absolutely, it said. But this is the CEO of NPR. Again, the CEO of NPR.
I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done. I think our reverence for the truth
Yikes.
might have become.
So again, CEO of NPR, the truth doesn't matter, consensus matters. Again, this is the whole 90% of scientists agree that climate change is caused by man. Like, science isn't done by consensus. Science is done by trial and error and the ability to repeat the same experiment over and over again. Well, they can't do that with the climate because the climate's different everywhere. It's always in a flux. It's always changing. But they're all going, oh, well, we're able to track it. Like, from when? Like, we only started actually measuring things in the last 100 years. How do we measure things 3,000 years ago? How do we measure things 300 years ago? Mm-hmm. How do you know? Yeah. Like, we're not saying that, yeah, CO2 emissions and stuff are not changing things, but at the same time, it's like, the warmer the climate is, the better off human flourishing is going to be.
Yeah. Well, the two things that I always like to point out to everybody that's ever talked about this is I go, are we making more carbon emissions today than we were like 100 to 1,000 years ago? And most people say, we're definitely making more today. And then I go, so do you believe that the Ice Age happened? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah. I go, so why did the Ice Age happen? What caused the Ice Age if it wasn't CO2 emissions from today?
It's woolly mammoth farts.
Exactly. Something like that. It's like, it's the woolly
cow
mammoth
farts.
Fault. Mm-hmm. But that's where I always ask them, I'm like, so the Ice Age happened, right? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, so what was happening in the world that an Ice Age happened that the people were doing? Other than praying, you could argue praying to the wrong gods or whatever.
Yeah.
It's questions like that they can't answer. Because clearly the climate had to be pretty freaking cold back in the Ice Age if the entire Earth was frozen tundra.
Yeah. I don't know, folks. We don't have the answers, but apparently the scientists don't either. But they're just, again, the truth is done by consensus. How disgusting is that? The truth is not done by consensus. The truth is what's done in real life, what the facts are. Like, we all can't get together and come together and agree. I mean, that's like saying we could agree on slavery. It's like, yeah, well, these people aren't really humans, so we can enslave them. It's the consensus of the majority population.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing in Islamic countries. Women are allowed to drive. Women are allowed to vote. Women are allowed to have rights. Well, the vast majority of men came to the consensus that they're not people, so why? Well, why do we care? It doesn't matter what they think. They're women.
Good point. Good point. Said, but the next big news that we'll be moving on to is Trump has created a Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE
department.
Mm-hmm. So it's been memed into reality now.
Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk will be doing this. Again, remember, Elon Musk fired 80% of the Twitter staff, and Twitter's still running fine. That goes to show you how much rot and how much bloat that company had. I can't wait to see what they do. I mean, I can't wait to see how much bloat and rot is within the federal government, because they need to I can't wait. You realize how much money in taxes we will save? We might be able to pay off the national debt when these guys are done.
God willing, that would be the case. But yeah, I mean, I remember the James O'Keefe expose on the Twitter files, and they interviewed that guy that it's always like a date that they go on with. And this poor guy was like, yeah, like I basically get paid like he's like a 6-figure salary, and I don't do anything. He was like bragging to this girl about
Yeah, I go
that.
into work like one time a week, and I get paid 6 figures to do that, and I don't really do anything when I'm there. I'm just like, wow, we can only dream to have jobs like that. We can only dream. We're down here working. I'm here every day, 8 hours a day, making sales calls. We're doing this, setting up for the show. That we don't reap any reward off the show. The only thing, actually, I won't say that. Some people who watch the show actually, encourage people to do business with us. So we are super happy to our fans that watch the show that tell people, yeah, you should do business with them. So we are reaping the rewards of doing this. Again, you reap what you sow. If you work hard at something and you put something out, even if your product's not great, you're going to get better at doing it. The only way you can get better at something is by doing it. So you will reap what you sow.
Yep.
And we are reaping what we sow here every day.
Hopefully, like I said, someday we'll get big enough where we're actually making more sponsor money.
Yeah, well, and maybe one day I can quit doing the stuff downstairs and just do this full time. That would be pretty sweet.
That would be awesome. But we'll move on to some of the other ones. Just a bunch of memes that you'd sent me, and they're all pretty darn good. The next one that I think I will look for, if I can find it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trump taking office. He takes the keys from Sleepy Joe. I'll let this restart, and then I'll play it.
Gator needs a scat, you punk-ass bitch.
That's a good one for Trump going back into the White House, taking that back from Biden.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, what do we got next? Oh, that's a good one to come back to here in a second. Oh, yeah, this one. They'll go with this one first. Because everyone still has the conspiracy theory of what happened to those 20 million votes from 2020. What happened with those 20 million votes from 2020? It's the goose chasing
Angry
the guy.
goose,
And
yep.
it's the Democratic Party's running away, which is 100% true. It's like, what happened to those votes? And two, again, we had all that, what's it called? I'm already blanking on the name. The ballot harvesting from the mail-in votes. There was no checks and balances there. So I think that's really what it was. It was a bunch of illegal votes being processed. So I'm really starting to think that Biden cheated in the 2020 election.
And maybe not Biden specifically, but people who wanted to see that regime take power. Again, you can understand why people who have no moral code will cheat, especially if they think that the person coming to power is Hitler. If they don't have a god they have to answer to one day, you can do whatever you want. It's like why I say, it's like, I think, who's the Clarence Thomas is our black Supreme Court judge, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas said you can't take an atheist at his word because whenever they put their hand on that Bible, it means nothing to them. It's like, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, I do. Well, you don't believe in God. So if you don't answer to a higher authority, what reason do you have to tell the truth?
What are you swearing on if you don't believe that Bible is real?
If you don't, again, America could not exist if we didn't have a moral people, a moral, biblical, God-fearing people. The only way you can have a civil society is that. If you think, again, you can justify doing anything to anyone if you don't fear God. It's like, look, my neighbor has a hot wife. He doesn't need a hot wife. I need his hot wife. I don't have a hot wife. His neighbor has a big house. What does he need it for? He's already got it. I need the house. I might as well just get rid of him. Take everything he has. You can literally reason your way into anything if you don't fear God. Everyone will be like, where does your morality? And again, where does your morality come from if you don't fear God? Like, seriously, these are debates that have been happening forever, and they just go, well, we just innately know. It's like, no, we don't. I mean, if we just innately know, why did Hitler kill all the Jews? You can justify anything if you don't believe in a God.
Yep. Which brings up this next one that you sent me. It said, Trump seeing if America wants him back in the White House, and it's Thor seeing if he's still worthy to wield Mjolnir. Title of the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
I'm still worthy.
I'm still worthy.
Still worthy. Still worthy.
That's awesome, man. But yeah, again, it's just the memes are fire, man. The people on the right are having fun. People are enjoying this time. The only people who aren't are people who are liberals or people who are on the far left. Again, it's like winning the Super Bowl. Let the team celebrate their win. Deal with it. Again, I can't tell you how many people I've seen posting going, it's amazing how many people who were upset by the 2020 election are rubbing it in the face like, what did you expect was going to happen? It's no different than when OU plays OSU or OU plays Texas. There's going to be some flaunting the win for a while. You're the national champs. Enjoy it while you can, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. But next one that I have here is one that I was trying to pull up yesterday. But it's Oprah Winfrey asked if she was paid for her endorsements of Kamala Harris for president. Winfrey denied being paid, but the FEC filings say she received 2 paychecks of $500,000 each. Why would she deny this? And this looks like some TMZ person. I'll go ahead and pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
How do you think the election went?
Not talking about the election. Thank you very much.
Oh, is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
Not true, okay.
I was paid nothing, ever.
What do you think about all the celebrities with their mass exodus?
I'm not talking about
Do you think Prince Harry's gonna lose his visa now that Trump's president? Thank you, Oprah. How do you think the election went?
God, there's nothing worse than tabloid journalists. But again, at least they're doing their job, and at least that they're bringing it to the light. I mean, these people deserve to be exposed. I mean, Oprah does not do things out of her charitable spirit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all tax write-offs for her. The whole, you get a car. That's all tax write-off crap for her.
And here is the disbursements of the FEC. Right here. Harris for president, sender, recipient, Harpo Productions, Inc., which that's her production company.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, 2 payments of $500,000.
I would lie about that too, I guess. But I mean, she has to lie in order to maintain her public perception that she is a honest and charitable person. And good Lord.
Yeah,
it's just pathetic, man.
Then of course
you have all the money in the world. What do you need more? What do you need $1 million more for?
Yep.
Sell your soul for the endorsement.
Mm-hmm. Then of course we have the next one here, which is everyone's favorite bit of copium.
Yes.
Right here, and it's Barack Obama on Jimmy Kimmel reading, hateful tweets from Donald Trump. And if this is not the best thing ever, this is 2016. I remember this in 2016, and I loved it back then too.
Mm-hmm.
But still to this day, I love it.
It's even better the second time.
But here we go. I'll go ahead and play this real quick.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
That's great stuff, man. Great stuff.
The man, the myth, the legend, the Don.
This Obama L is even better the second time.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. I mean, the snarkiness and the elitist attitude of Obama. I mean, like, he was the most, like, it's like what Joe Rogan said. He was the most popular person. He was Joe Rogan's favorite president. Thought he was the best, and then now we can see him for what he is: a shill, a liar, a guy who will shame black men because they're like, we don't identify with the Democratic Party. What do you mean you don't identify? Get back on the plantation. How dare you think for yourself, black men? We've had enough of thinking for ourselves. Let me do your thinking for you. That's essentially what he did this entire campaign cycle for Kamala Harris. Shame black people into thinking for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Pathetic, man. Pathetic. But I mean, this is who they are. This is what they really were. Like, Obama was never... They made Obama the messiah of the apolitical, a-religious Democratic Party. And now he is exposed for what he is. He's just a man. He's just a charlatan. He's just a guy that's going to shame you and say whatever it takes to toe the party line to be getting to snap the paychecks to keep funding his millionaire lifestyle.
And then not to mention all the money that he and his wife have received from Netflix deals and all sorts of other media company deals for him just riding his presidential coattails all the way to whatever the heck he wants to do.
Yep. Pathetic, man.
Next one here is one that we found this morning, and it just made me laugh. It's a dog checking on the computer. He goes, let's check on the left today. And he just looks at the camera. Good Lord.
Good Lord.
And that is how we feel. We're talking about from women threatening to kill their husbands. I mean,
women shaving their heads.
Yep. I mean, the left is not okay right now. The left is not okay.
Yeah. I mean, the best way is to win humbly and lose graciously. But people on the left, you are not losing graciously. I mean, I know we haven't particularly won humbly either, but again, let us celebrate the victory, and then things will calm down. So just survive these next couple months of gloating, and then when Donald Trump assumes the presidency and things turn around and get better, then you guys can start making policy critiques.
Yeah. And then we have this one here, and this is what I believe is going to happen this time around at the next inauguration. This happened at Trump's inauguration.
Yeah, there was no insurrection. There were no riots during Trump's inauguration. This right here is actual footage of what happened at Donald Trump's inauguration. That didn't sound nice. There's people over there shattering windows. Mute that for me, would you?
You got it.
How does this hold up to the little old grandmas walking and touring the Capitol?
Yeah, where was the cries for insurrection when this happened?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is actual footage of people busting in windows of businesses in Washington, D.C., all over the country like this. There was a lot of stuff like this happening all over the country. That wasn't reported on. These are mostly peaceful protests. These are economic protests. People robbing and looting. It's not a big deal because, the companies can just file their insurance claims. Like, again, being someone in the insurance industry, riots in wartime are not covered perils on any policy anywhere, even a business policy. So unless you have a really good lawyer who can say, technically this wasn't a riot because there weren't enough people to constitute a riot, or, the media never declared it a riot, therefore it's not a riot, maybe they could make that argument if they have a good lawyer. But the small businesses, they're not going to get that luxury. Let's say your car was parked out there on the street that day. Riots and acts of wartime, not covered on your personal auto policy. You're screwed. You, the average American. No lawyer for your company is going to come out and bat for you. They're going to go, well, their lawyers are going to be like, well, if we don't have to pay the claim if it's a riot, so screw you, customer.
And then, not to mention, so this happened at his inauguration back in 2017. Then we can go back to 5/29 during the George Floyd protest. A George Floyd protest outside the White House led to he said probably several $1 million worth of damages. They attacked the White House. So if we're going to call January 6th.
Yeah, they burnt down that church across the street. That's why Trump had to go into the bunker, and they all called Trump a coward for being forced into the bunker.
It's like, Trump ran away from a bunch of George Floyd protesters outside. Well, they burned down a church, and they also a hospital nearby. They didn't burn it down, but they damaged a hospital nearby, and the security gate, like the little security building outside the White House gate, was damaged as well. And this is something that has been reported on, and the media ignores it, and yet we only focus on January 6th is the crazy part of all this. I mean, here's the article. This is the Washington Post. This is not a right-wing news outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this. This is the chaos that erupted outside the White House. It said burnt cars. They burned down a church. It's crazy.
How many buildings were burnt down in the J6 riots? Those little old ladies walking through the Capitol building, were they a threat to anyone there? Nobody was armed. Nope. Nobody took pot shots to me. The only person that died, actually, there was, Ashley Babbitt died, and then I can't remember I know one of our viewers keeps telling me there was another civilian that died that no one ever remembers her name, and I feel bad. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now, but there were 2 civilians that lost their lives Ashley Babbitt being one, and there was another person that lost their life. Unarmed civilians. So again, this is what the media does. This is what what the media chooses to put out there and get cycled into the algorithms versus what they post, and they go, well, buildings burned down, there were riots, but it's not a big deal because, Trump's in office, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Here's some images. I hope this is actually Washington, D.C., but there were so many George Floyd protests, all around. Yeah, historic. Here's one right here. Historic St. John's Church
Burnt to the
damaged.
ground.
Yeah, they set it on fire. So this stuff actually happened, and the mainstream media ignored it, and we completely hyper-focused in on January 6th, despite the fact there was some windows broken, and they say that police officers were attacked, even though there is no footage of that, really.
Mm-hmm.
And
nobody died except for civilians.
Yeah, Trump-supporting civilians were the only people who were killed at this point in time.
Yep.
2. And there's only one police officer they can point to dying, and he died 2 days later of natural
unrelated heart condition problems.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So this is what we're talking about. It's like, why wasn't this focused on? Why wasn't this called an insurrection? They attacked the White House. They literally burned down a church. They attacked the security building, but because they didn't make it inside the building, it doesn't count.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
If they didn't come out with the head of Donald Trump, they didn't really accomplish anything. Property damage is nothing when the left does it. It's a huge deal whenever people on the right do it, but whenever people on the left do it, it's not a big deal. They're just a bunch of kids fooling around.
Mm-hmm. But that's really about it. I said I was probably going to play us out with this.
Yes,
video
that's
right
a great
here.
video to play us out with. Absolutely.
But that's pretty much all I've got. Let me transition.
Yeah, get ready for the transition. Sure.
And then, go ahead and you can.
But hey, this is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. We appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to, again, share it out there with your friends. Help us grow this channel. Help us get the word out. We're just, like I said, we just do meme reviews here, and we like to keep people informed of what's going on in the culture. So that being said, that's all we've got for you. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
Why did Kamala Harris lose the election? This chick nails it in 60 seconds.
Kamala Harris did not lose this election because she's a woman. She lost this election because there were American families sitting there telling her how they couldn't afford to put food in their fridge, and her solution was to bring out Meg Thee Stallion to twerk on stage alongside just about every single one of P. Diddy's friends to endorse her.
You heard me right. Con men, thieves, degenerates, lowlifes, thugs, criminals.
She lost this election because there were Americans who lost everything in an absolutely horrific hurricane, and she sat there telling them that $750 should be enough for them if they even qualify, while simultaneously funding illegals staying in 5-star hotels in New York City, receiving 3 meals a day provided to them by taxpayer dollars.
I'm Captain Obvious.
Isn't it funny that if you demonize a group of people long enough for merely existing, they might not want to vote for you?
These are facts.
You will no longer be able to sit there and bully Americans into voting for you. It won't work. Kamala learned the hard way yesterday.
Why did Kamala Harris lose the election?